Who will be the world's next top diplomat? The race to become the next Secretary General of the United Nations, one of the most powerful yet carefully negotiated positions in global diplomacy, has begun. Antonio Guterres' term ends in 2026, and his successor will assume office on January 1st, 2027. But how exactly does this election unfold? Who are the contenders? And why does this election decision matter for the future of the UN and the world? The formal process begins when the UN Security Council and the President of the General Assembly send a joint letter to all 193 member states inviting nominations. That letter is expected by the end of this year. A candidate must be nominated by a UN member state, as self-nominations are not allowed. Traditionally, the post of Secretary General rotated among regions. When Guterres was elected in 2016, it was supposed to be Eastern Europe's turn. But now, by that informal rotation, Latin America is considered next in line. However, diplomats suggest that candidates from other regions may also emerge. Even before the official call for nominations, several prominent figures have already declared their intentions to run. Chile has announced that it will nominate Michelle Bachelet, the country's first female president, who has also served as the UN Commissioner for Human Rights and as the head of the United Nations Programme for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women, also known as UN Women. Costa Rica's government has put forward Rebeca Grynspan, a former vice president and the current Secretary General of the UN Conference on Trade and Development, known for her work in global economics and development. Argentina's Rafael Grossi, who currently leads the International Atomic Energy Agency, has also confirmed his candidacy. All three contenders hail from Latin America, reinforcing expectations that the region could take the top UN position this time. The voting process itself takes place within the 15-member UN Security Council. Members hold a series of secret quote-unquote straw polls where they can express whether they encourage, discourage, or have no opinion on each candidate. The decisive factor lies with the 5 permanent members of the Council: the United States, Russia, China, Britain, and France, each of whom wields a veto. A single veto can block any candidate. Once the consensus is reached, the Security Council adopts a resolution recommending one name to the General Assembly, which then votes to confirm the appointment. Although the General Assembly's approval is required, it has historically been seen as a formality, with real negotiations taking place behind closed doors in the Security Council. Over the years, the United Nations has faced criticism for the secrecy surrounding this process. In response, the General Assembly passed a resolution in September 2025 aimed at increasing transparency. Candidates are now expected to submit public vision statements, disclose their sources of campaign funding, and if they are currently holding positions within the UN system, they are expected to consider temporarily stepping aside to avoid any conflict of interest. The same resolution has also made a pointed observation that in the UN's 80-year history, no woman has ever served as a Secretary General, and urged member states to seriously consider nominating female candidates. The Secretary General's role is defined by the UN Charter as that of the Chief Administrative Officer of the organization. But in practice, it is a delicate balance of diplomacy on one side and management on the other. The Secretary General acts as a mediator in conflicts, an advocate for peace and human rights, and the public face of the United Nations. Antonio Guterres currently oversees more than 30,000 civilian staff in the UN, 11 peacekeeping missions with around 60,000 military and police troops of United Nations members, including India, and a combined budget of nearly $9 billion. Despite this vast responsibility, the office's actual power is quite limited, since the authority to impose sanctions or authorize military force lies with the Security Council. Many diplomats often remark that the position demands someone who can be as much a secretary as a general. The upcoming election is not just an internal UN affair. It reflects the shifting balance of power among nations and global challenges awaiting leadership in the years ahead. From wars and humanitarian crisis to climate change and digital inequality, the next Secretary General will need to unite an increasingly divided world. When the UN finally appoints its first female leader or another seasoned diplomat from Latin America, the choice made over the next year will shape the tone and direction of international cooperation for the rest of the decade. That's all for now. For more such videos, please subscribe to The Hindu. If you have any feedback or suggestions for us, please write to us at videos@thehindu.co.in. Thank you.